Alright, Brakti Awashai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Awashai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bahashem, Kakodash, the belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there, man. You Akim to Sadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. I appreciate Shimon. This week's the topic I'm going to be speaking on space travel. These Richard Edomites, Richard Bronson, that owns Virgin Galactic, traveling to space. Jeff Besoz traveling to space. And when they're traveling to space, they're not necessarily leaving, the planet's ozone layer, right? They're going into what you call like the second heaven. You know what I'm saying? Because the scripture says, flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of heaven, and part of the kingdom of heaven goes into outer space, such as like, where the moon is and these different particular planets, right? So that whole Esau landing on the moon, that's bullshit. It's complete BS, man. You know what I'm saying? Because why have they not gone back? And we already know if this man was to go to the moon, alright, he'd have been harvesting it and already destroying it, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get the light away from the moon. So how does that tie into prophecy? Well, when you go into the book of Amos, alright, we always said it, the Spirit, the apostles, the elders, alright, speak on the fact that a lot of these rich elites, okay, when the destruction comes, they're going to flee out of their respective countries, alright, and try to wait out the destruction in these high-end space stations. Like they show you in that movie Elysium. Which Elysium goes back to Greek mythology. Alright, because after you died, in Greek mythology, alright, you had to see this individual where you had to pay after you died. That's like when they'll put the coins over their eyes, that you had to pay this particular deity. I forgot the name of him. But then he will determine 3 places that you go. And you had Hades, and you had another place that was kind of like Earth, and you had, of course, Elysium, which was like their version of heaven, right? And the so-called white man is in his heaven. But, when this destruction comes, which they also want the destruction, you got to keep in mind, the elites, the Rothschilds, they want a World War III, because in their mindset, they say, look, missiles goes off, it's going to decrease the population, much easier to rule the remaining population, something that they have called an enlightened utopia, right? That's the name of it, an enlightened utopia, something that they want to go ahead and do. However, alright, scripture says in the fullness of his sufficiency, meaning when he's about to put the capstone on his new world order, alright, at the zenith of this enterprise, he's going to be in straits, meaning he's going to be in a position of difficulty. So when these missiles do their thing and destroy America, Israel, different parts of the world in World War III, alright, the elites that hid themselves, in these space stations and hid themselves in deep underground bunkers and wherever else they might hide, underwater. They have all different they have underwater cities. They have all types of stuff that we don't even know about, right? Well, guess what? We, the elect, Lord willing, the hopeful elect, alright, are going to be right there after the destruction, okay? It's being delivered in the chariots, which the world called UFOs, okay? We're going to be right there, Lord willing, to put their ass in chains, and they're going to be the first fruits of slaves in the kingdom of heaven. The very elites, the ones that are enjoying it the most in this place, don't have a care in the world, man. Alright? They're in their power seat, they're in their throne. They're going to be the first batch of slaves in the kingdom to come. Alright? And that's scripture. So the Most High is preserving Rothschilds, Gettys, Oppenheimers, and DuPonts, whatever other rich elite families and nobles of Esau, Edom, alright, to bind them up fetters, to bind them up in chains. Okay, so the fact that they're working on this, and they had a successful launch of that outer rim and back Jeff Bezos, right? Richard Branson, he tried a couple of times, but he had a lot of failed missions. His Virgin Galactic, okay? But Jeff Bezos, Amazon, partnered up with a company and started something called Blue Origin, right? They got out there. They got out there in that rim, and that's what they need to do. They're trying to just make sure that they can escape, all right? That nuclear blast. They could go far out enough to escape that nuclear blast in luxury too. It's not just being hitched up in a small space. They want to do it in luxury. You know. In other words, only very few can afford these particular trips, man. So that right there lets you know that it's only going to be for the wealthy. The Mossad, ultimate puppet master, ultimate trick master. The Mossad is letting you elites, if you Edomites, all right, the rich noble families, gather all this wealth that you can afford the tickets, all right, that you can afford the tickets to have seats on these expensive ass luxury planes, luxury space stations, right? Just so you could be the first batch of slavery. A lot of these elites, okay, they never worked a day in their life, man. They living off what you call old money, and then they inherit that old money, and the requirements of what they have to do to keep that money. It's not really financial labor. It's not really physical labor. All right, they do things like, you know, make decisions and such, and have other people actually do the labor. So they're not gonna know what that's like. But when that kingdom comes, or when the Yahushua kingdoms come, they're gonna learn firsthand what that's about, man. You know, we, the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, God's chosen people, right? The Israelites, we've been in slavery since a very long time. We've been in bondage, man. We've been in bondage from Egypt all the way up to now, one captivity to the next. Of course, not unjustly, right? We did sin. We did go against what we promised the Most High. And when I say we, I don't mean every single last Israelite was literally trying to be wicked, all right? But guess what? The Most High judged a people as a whole. In other words, the Most High had his elect prophets on the scene, all right? They weren't bowing the knees to Baal, but guess what? And the Most High had King David, which he loved. But at the end of the day, the Most High judged people as a whole, all right? And that's what's happening. We're being judged as a whole. The prophets, the kings, the righteous, and the wicked Israelites are all lumped up together and being judged right now. So this whole notion of, oh, I know a good Edomite, I know good Edomites, and look, even if you had an Edomite that was cool as hell to you, and you knew him, I won't say friends, but you knew him for decades, and he ain't never did, because that's gonna happen. You're gonna have Edomites out there that's just cool. They're not jakes, but they're not gonna give you any hell, no none of that. All right. They might not show their racism, but guess what? The Most High judge a nation as a whole. So the Most High doesn't give a hell if there's sprinkled Edomites that's gonna be cool with you and all that. You know what I'm saying? Who gives a hell? The Most High is gonna judge the nation of Edom as a whole. All right. Just like we got judged as a whole, all these nations are gonna get judged as a whole. So even the so-called white man wanted to give you so-called reparations and 40 acres and a mule and all that, it's not enough. Because he has to go in hardcore slavery as it is promised. You know, we already know, or if you don't know, Isaiah 55:11 tells you that the Most High word isn't called for it. And Isaiah 14:24 says, as I have spoken, so shall it stand. All right? Hey, man, when you ponder upon what's coming, it really gives you just, you know what I'm saying? It's a fuel. You know what I'm saying? To know that the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, is going to destroy this place and have his son rule, and us being joint heirs, the ones that stand stiffly for his name, the elect, and ultimately all of the nation of Israel. hey man, that's a beautiful thing, man. That type of stuff keeps you going in this wicked ass society, you know. Yeah, so the fact that they went to space, that's huge, man. All right. Again, when I say space, I'm not talking about outer space. I'm talking about, the very, the rim of the ozone layer and such, because we know they have something called a Van Allen belt, all right, which is an immense amount of radiation, okay, out there in the ozone layer that these bodies can't deal with. That's how come we're gonna have to be changed. 2 Corinthians the 15th chapter. Or the 1 Corinthians 15 chapter, the Apostle Paul said we're going to be changed in the twinkling of an eye, or the blink of an eye, and get bodies that are able to, travel the heights of heavens and the depths of the sea. That's another thing. First of all, you so-called Esau, you can't even go to certain parts in this planet Earth, let alone go out there in space, man. There's certain places that your body can't even go. You need machines, and some of the machines can't even go because I believe one brother was bringing it out. You can look it up though, but it makes sense. There was this machine submarine that was trying to go deep, but it kept bouncing back up. Like anytime it tried to go deep enough down there, it kept bouncing back up. The physics wouldn't allow it, but you had creatures. Well, really, the Most High wouldn't allow it, because you have creatures that go even deeper than that. You have some creatures way. You got Leviathan down there. You have all types of creatures down there that the Most High got hid right now. All right, that the so-called white man, even with his great technology, all right, can't even mess with. Can't even see. Those types of things. Hey man, that's gonna be for our fun and our enjoyment, for us to do all them deep explorations, man. Because we're gonna be doing it in righteousness. See, when the so-called white man gets a the Most High allows him to discover a new creature, the first thing he wants to do is split open and look at its brains and all that. We're not gonna be doing no shit like that, man. We're gonna have spiritual power. We're gonna just talk and communicate and understand with all the animals anyways, man. We're not gonna be cutting them up and dissecting them and shit for no damn reason, all right? But the so-called white man, he has knowledge, but he has left-hand wisdom. You look at his technology, it's a lot of left-handed shit behind there, but it's miracles. The scriptures describe it as miracles, some of the stuff that this technology can do. Hey, such as the fact is I'm recording myself, all right, uploading it, and I'm able to bring back time, or bring back this particular event that I'm doing right now. And the world can see it. That's a miracle in itself. But that's that technology shit. See, when we have it, all right, it's going to be spiritual. A lot of stuff because again, none of this technology is really new, all right? Because the scripture says there's no new thing under the sun. The spirit of these same things that we're doing, I'm driving right now. They always had chariots, right? So that same spirit of vehicle of getting around, all right, was always on the scene. So that's what I'm saying. We're going to have that same thing in the kingdom, all right? We're going to be driving chariots. But our chariots are going to be, like spiritually linked, telepathically, man. You're just going to, with your mind, tell the chariot where to go and where to do this and that, man. And it's not going to be no wires hooked up or engine breaking down and none of that madness. You know what I'm saying? The scripture, the kingdom of heaven is going to be such on a high spiritual level. Some of the things that we're doing, right, it's going to be return to the old ways, but it's still going to be some far out things that we're going to be using, such as the vehicles, such as the food and minerals we're going to be consuming, all right? The exploration, the understanding of the elements and everything like that, we're going to be deep. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of things right now that, we just can't really fathom or comprehend in these bodies, man. Scripture says in the book of, say it's in the Apocrypha, I can't remember which book, but the most of his works are hid. That could be Ecclesiasticus, the 43rd chapter, or it could be Ecclesiasticus, the 16th chapter. But most of the Most High's works are hid. Scriptures also say we've seen but a few of his creations, man, just a few. Okay? So the so-called white man, again, going out there in space and establishing these luxury space stations is just fulfilling prophecy, man. Right? That one particular in Amos, letting you know that though they dig into hell or go up to heaven, then should I, get their ass, bring them down, roughly paraphrasing. Okay? And with that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Rakal the blessings of the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. And salutations to the hopeful elect out there, you Akim to the Dakim, that do the singing the more truth and sincerity. Shalom.